Now here's one of my favorites from my own son during the 2022 tournament season. That's Henry up there at bats, my son, a member of the Bombers, who's going to lead off the inning. Now, to start this up, we've been practicing hitting the ball to all sides of the field, and we had to change that during the tournament team because there's just so many outstanding fielders that the only chance that we had of getting on base was to hit the ball to the left side of the field. But that's not one that I really want to focus on. The one that I really enjoyed was when he was on the base pass. Now, to set this up on why it's one of my favorites, because there's so many other better things that he does, but this one was just my favorite because of its uniqueness, and it was the only time I had seen something like this that had happened during the season. Now, why it was also one of my favorites was because we really struggled with our base running as a team. Now, not to the kids' fault, because, again, this was a tournament team. We're a collection of 9 teams thrown together to play a tournament season. We probably only had 2 to 3 practices together as a full collective team prior to starting the tournaments here. There's that line drive down the third base side that will score Henry a leadoff base hit. And coming up behind him is the only other 6-year-old on this 8U team is Xavier Span. And, oh, by the way, that's his father, Dre, who's the one that's doing the pitching. So, now why this became one of my favorite ones. Again, so we struggled at base running a little bit because it's just not a high priority during the season because you just don't have the talent level defensively on the field to punish bad base running. But now that there is, we really needed to focus up on it quite a bit, and we were still in the beginning stages of really teaching that base running. So Xavier here, who takes that first one for a ball, during a couple particular games here, he was hitting the ball just right down the first base line many times, and we were just starting to work on the same thing we were working on Henry with, trying to make sure we get that ball down the third base line. But we can see that right here it was still in that stages of that where he takes the first ball foul down the first base line. The first baseman's not able to get there. The third pitch also goes foul. This one all the way to the dugout, bounces off the brick, and the first baseman makes a catch. You can even see his little bit of disappointment that he has. That sorry, kid, that one doesn't get called and out there. Takes another one for a ball. We're on the count up 2-2. Comes back with a third ball. And here we are with the play in question. So first of all, let's give credit to this first baseman. Let's watch it again as we're a full count and Xavier has to make contact, otherwise he's out. And once again, we get another ball down the first base line, and this first baseman just right here, full stretch, leaves his feet, leaping grab. I mean, just flying through the air, make the catch, secures it all the way to the ground. What a heck of a play by this first baseman. Just so impressed by him. And let's not spend too much time, but let's make a little self-criticism that I need to do a better job of getting out of the way. My eyes are too busy staring up at the baseball, and I only take 1.5 steps back by the time that first baseman crosses in front of me. I think during the game, I thought he was going to go behind me, which doesn't really make sense that I'm backing up. But I didn't really project myself as being in the way of this first baseman. But I'm clearly too close, especially if I'm just another couple inches in one direction or the other. Could easily be called for interference and get one of my batter runners out, which I definitely don't want to be doing here, Coach First Base. But enough about me. Anyways, back to this first baseman. Excellent play. Now, again, I had been saying that our base running skills have been lacking, and I'm finding most of the time that the kids are off the base or just not ready to run. And when I do instruct them to run, I have to yell 4 or 5 times, go, 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 go. I got to point frantically before they get the point across. Well, here, this other team's parents, of course, are cheering because of this miraculous play that this first baseman just made. And I know that if I have to point and yell, that if it takes Henry, by the time I say, go 3 times and point, for him to be able to get the understanding to take off, that he's easily going to get thrown out at second. There's just no question about it. So instead, I figure the only way that he's got a shot here to tag and make it, and actually before I get that is, let's look quickly after I realize, so I follow my head here. I'm staring at the first baseman. I follow it all the way down to make sure he secures the catch, just like an umpire would, right? That way I can make sure. But once I realize, oh, it's a catch, it takes me 2 frames here for my head to spin around, and I see Henry is on first. Looking at the first baseman, 1 frame, 2 frame. I see Henry is on first, and I just quietly, to try to make sure he is the only one in this entire ballpark that can hear me say, go, go, go. And before I finish saying the first go, he was gone. And I think it takes him until he has got a good 5 steps before anybody realizes he's going. Right here, I think the first baseman realizes that he's still picking himself off the ground. He's not in a position yet to make a throw. The shortstop's over here with his hands above his head. The second baseman, I think, realizes it just about right here. And then he turns his back to get ready for the throw. So the first baseman has nobody to throw to as of yet. By the time he gets in somewhat of a position to field a throw, Henry's already more than halfway down there, and they just didn't have a play on him. Again, not because this is a miraculous play that, oh my goodness, you know, and it's not even scoring a run, but it was just simply for the wherewithal that he was smart enough to, on the fly ball, he's watching it, he starts to take his few steps, and we've been practicing 3 steps and hold, or 2 steps and hold if it's real close, and sure enough, look at him, 1, 2, he holds, he sees it's going to be a catch, he gets back, and he was ready. He could have had his shoulders turned towards second if he actually thought of me actually sending him in the possibility of a tag scenario. I don't know who's going to think that they're going to tag here in this, but as soon as I realized this first baseman's laying on his back, that Henry's got a shot to take second, boy, was I crossing my fingers this whole way down to second, thinking that if I just got our leadoff runner thrown out at second by a first baseman who just made a miraculous play, am I going to be embarrassed? But sure enough, just a simple, I do flinch a little bit, just go, 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 and don't make any arm movements or anything else, so none of the coaches can yell that he's going or anything of that nature, and he was gone. Just the fact that he was able to make it back to the base and listen to my command in just 1 syllable, go, him being gone, I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, another play to highlight here is the next batter, Lincoln, comes up here and just hits a rope to the shortstop, but it just goes right to the shortstop, and another excellent play right here. Look at this line drive. Shortstop, 2 steps and catch. Run that back. Watch the shortstop. Shortstop sees it, turns his hips. 1, 2, baseball right there. Henry doesn't realize it. He is about to take off. He's thinking that ball's going to the outfield. He's going to score. And then he sees the catch and puts on the brakes and gets back fairly quickly there. But, man, it was disappointing because that one was definitely going to score him on that one. And unfortunately, our next batter ends up getting out here as well. That was 3 outs for the inning. And that was all she wrote. But I was just, like I said, super impressed that he had the wherewithal just to be able to make it back to the base and to listen to my instruction super quickly to be able to make his way in and to steal an extra bag. Simply because just taking extra bags is just not something that we work on quite a bit. And so when you're able to squeeze one in there on something you haven't practiced, it's pretty impressive that he's able to make it happen.